I'm a fan of pursuing and educating yourself and getting better and developing skills. But if there's no deals, there's no deals.
Well, you have to do less with more. I mean, more with less.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back to Real Investing, where we talk about real investing for the everyday investor. I'm here today with Maria Acosta.
Hola, sí.
You got to Acosta.
Hola.
You got to
Well,
Acosta.
I say Acosta. Yeah,
Acosta.
And this other guy, Ryan Harper.
Harper. I don't know what that is. What is that? I don't know. That's wrong heritage.
Talk with your hands.
Okay. There we
Is that
go.
Italian?
I think it's cultural appropriation.
So anyway, hi, how are you?
What's up, guys? How are you?
Good.
Thanks for having me.
So we didn't really get to prep you because it's like in and out, in and out.
Mm-hmm.
But this whole project is to be very casual, but to be real about real investing, real estate investing, because there's so many guru types, so many people out there that kind of like they overcomplicate, but they also underestimate the realities of this business.
Mm-hmm.
So,
You said flipping houses sucks right now. Can we just dive right into that?
Let's do that.
I mean,
Yeah.
because you're a flipper, wholesaler,
Yeah. So
deal maker.
So I primarily fix and flip, but it's like, anytime you see changes, you got to adapt. And it's like right now, with interest rates being where they're at, I'm trying to see if I could definitely wholesale a little bit more. But primarily that's what I started doing when I first got into real estate.
Where all do
fix
you
and
flip?
So here, primarily DFW. I have some rentals too in other states in Ohio and Michigan, but mostly DFW.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to ask a lot of questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
What price band do you like to flip in?
So we like to go after, first-time home buyers. So anything 300 and below is kind of our sweet spot.
Need any money?
Yeah, we
I
do.
got you.
You lending? Okay,
Yeah.
I got it. All
Yeah.
right. Noted.
I close in 24 hours. Anyway, a little plug.
where's my piece? Do I get a referral fee? I
Yes,
arrange this?
you do.
Sweet.
Yes.
Get all your money from
I
the
will
start.
buy you a drink
okay,
from
okay.
your fridge.
I'm already buying you a drink.
So, all right. Now, I'm obviously with the gray hair, kind of an old dog. I remember when if you could sell a house in 90 days, it was great. You had to literally wait until it qualified for FHA before you even try to put it on the market.
And then it went to, if you weren't selling the first day, then your house is bad.
Right. So, what does flipping kind of sucks right now mean to you?
Yeah. So, I think one of the things that happened is that given the last couple of years that we've had and how everything was just selling really quick, I think a lot of people maybe picked up deals maybe in areas that, they didn't, not necessarily that they didn't do their due diligence, but it was going to take a little longer to sell. And I'll be honest, we're in that situation with, a couple of our properties. So the numbers looked really good, but they were areas that definitely had higher days on market. So, but also too, that's the reason why you always have a backup option when it comes to these houses. If we can't ever sell our fix and flips, our backup plan is always to refinance them, keep them as rentals. It's just unfortunate right now because interest rates are almost double what they were.
They're coming down.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit.
I will jump in on that only because I have a friend, hypothetically is not in this room,
Okay.
who that was his strategy for years, and it kicked his ass when he had a huge portfolio of shit rental properties. Tim, would you like to talk about that?
I know the guy pretty well. We have a lot of talks in the mirror.
Basically, what I'm opening the conversation of is that sounds in good theory, but in practice, eventually will kill you.
The longevity of it all is I always recommend that you don't let the toxic asset into your long-term rental portfolio, right? The thing that nobody else wants is not what you should keep. Obviously, that may not be what you're talking about, but that's what he's referring to because back in 05, 06, 07, you were in high school? Elementary
I
school?
graduated high school in 06.
Yeah, there you go. We were flipping 100, 130, 140 houses a year. So it was like money was easy, just kind of like the last couple years. If it didn't work out, I'll call the bank, refi, send a fax. That was, do you know what? Anyway.
We get it. You're a boomer.
I know, not. But
Anybody
what
over
happened
28
is
is a
then
boomer.
as the recessionary environment started to hit, these houses that weren't targeted rentals kind of became the problem houses. Again, not saying that's what you're doing, but why are houses, what is not selling quick enough or fast enough? What is that 30 days, 80 days, 200
So
days?
actually, we have a house right now in Kaufman. So it's on an acre. It's a little bit out there. It's not too far from the lake, but we've been on the market now for probably about a little over 100 days.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. But the good thing is we do have some people that are interested in renting it. The only thing is that when we refinance, we're getting between 7 and 8% on our rate. So we are going to have a higher monthly payment.
Well, and it's on an acre, so it may have a septic system, which then can be a problem with some of the DSCR lenders out there right now. I've had property in Kaufman too.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Well, what's funny is Kaufman years ago used to be the sticks, but because of how cities just naturally grow. I mean, it's still far away, but it's not as sticky as it used to be.
Yeah.
It's now part of, I would say, DFW outskirts versus way out there.
Well, it's on place affordable. Let's talk about sales strategy, because back in the day when I was really heavy retail, it was kind of, the rule was 21 days or 21 showings, whichever happened first. And then you adjust one of the 3 Ps, pricing, product, or presentation. And then you wait another 21 days or 21 showings. You adjust one of the 3 Ps, pricing, product, presentation. And that was just kind of the cycle. Are you not seeing the showings, or the showings low offers? Could you maybe talk about the feedback you're getting from the market?
So we've had showings. In fact, we did get one offer on the property, but it started off kind of weird because the agent submitted the offer, and we had been on the market already for about between 60 and 70 days. And I think when agents see that, it's kind of like blood in the water. It's like, all right, you guys, haven't sold.
Psychological, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I tried to have a conversation with her and just let her know, like, hey, we're open to accepting your terms, because they also wanted us to build a fence around the entire 1 acre. So that's a little over $10,000.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to kind of tell her, hey, we're willing and we're open to the terms that you guys are offering, but we're also not going to, let you guys take advantage just because we've been on the market, for a little while. And I think the way I was talking to her, maybe like she wasn't feeling it, because basically she kind of got intimidated, I think, talked to her client, and shortly after they submitted their offer, they withdrew. But my partner then reached out to them, kind of brought them back to the table, and then we went through the process. But they ended up doing an inspection. Everything checked out well. Our roof, we actually got a roofer to come out, looked at the house. He gave us a no issues letter. But the buyer was saying that her insurance company, for whatever reason, wouldn't insure the roof. And so she wanted to back out for that reason. So it started weird because they backed out like after our conversation. They came back and then backed out again because of the roof issue, even though we had a no issue letter and we were willing to give them $10,500 for the fence. So
sounds like they just didn't want the property.
Yeah, and that's kind of the vibe, that I got. But since then, and kind of how you mentioned every 21 days, switch something up. So we didn't have aerial pictures initially, so we went and did that. So I adjusted that. We got drone pics and all of that fun stuff. And also, I've just been blasting the area with a bunch of yellow signs, just hey, owner financing, different things like that. So we've had people reach out for owner financing, and then also most recently a couple people interested in renting it out.
But surely that's not all of your inventory. Some of them are still going.
Yeah, some of the other properties, and that's why now and going forward, I'm just trying to stick to closer to DFW. Because another property that we purchased in Waxahachie, mobile home on 2.5 acres. I like flipping mobile homes. I started doing that not too long ago. A lot of people are afraid of those just because they're almost like
good money though.
Yeah, and people don't realize that they're scared of them, so they avoid them. But yeah, so we bought one Waxahachie, and for whatever reason, that one was taking a little longer.
Is it that they're scared of them, or is it because there's a stigma? Because again, it goes back to that whole, like you brought up Blake Johnson in a previous podcast about how it's an investment, it's not your home. So I would assume people don't want the mobile homes because they don't want to live in there. It's like, of course, I don't want to live in there either, but if you can make money, who cares?
Well, financing is more difficult as well.
Okay. That makes more sense.
So it's, when you're selling a mobile home, a lot of times, it's an FHA buyer. It's got to be affixed to a permanent foundation. A lot of us lenders shy away from them unless you have a lot of experience in them, because you're repairing plastic. You're not repairing concrete and wood. So it's just different.
Yeah.
Well, I know Daniel Moore, Propelia, when we did all those Propelia TV, he did a full-on course, and that was some of the most popular videos on that channel, but it was still speaking Greek.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't because they would talk about the tags and all this other stuff, and I'm like, why can't we just
The
go
VIN.
back to
Yeah.
foundations and plumbing?
Yeah, and it's not
roofing?
until you go through it that you know, like, when people reach out and they're like, hey, do you have your HUD tags? I was like, yep, I have the HUD letter. It's approved for FHA. We've already had it retrofitted. So it's like, unless you've done one, you don't know what you don't know. So prior to us doing our first one, we didn't know that we needed, to have retrofitting done or any of that stuff.
So if riches are in the niches and
Mm-hmm.
you're doing mobile homes, but you're also doing properties out in Kaufman,
Mm-hmm.
and I know you do single family within the city, like, are you just like, hey, I don't give a shit about the riches and niches. I'm going to do what I would do?
I mean, I definitely like that phrase, and you're absolutely right. So I guess with us, I don't know, whatever kind of pops up, we try and see what we can do, with the deal. So we had a mobile home pop up in Fort Worth, and I mean, that's kind of how we got into mobile homes. It's like, man, the spread it seemed awesome. We didn't want to just wholesale and sell it to someone else. So we're like, let's do this.
Let's give it a go.
Who is we?
So I have a virtual assistant that helps me, but then also from time to time, I partner with other investors too.
Gotcha. I didn't know if it was like the royal we, if it was a husband-wife team.
Oh yeah,
or
no,
a mouse in your
single.
pocket, or
Partners, business.
I asked her
partners.
out once. She said, no. I was like, we could be a power couple in the real estate space. She's like, no. Thank you for making it awkward, Tim.
We'll take a break. No. Okay, so how long you been doing this?
So I started flipping beginning of 2015.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what now? Where are you getting your lead? Do you like direct advertise, or you buy from wholesalers?
So a little from
signs?
wholesalers. Yeah. No, so a little bit from wholesalers, and also too, we do our own marketing. So we primarily send text messages, even though text messages are starting to die a little bit too, and then some cold calling as well.
And it's all consent based. It's all do not call compliant.
Yes,
Trust me, she
exactly.
follows the law
100%.
nonstop.
There's a textbook of all the laws that she could, follow.
So how's that going? Like, I mean, obviously inventory's reaching like an all-time low. I mean, people say, oh, it's up, but it's still like super down. Investors can't really, the number one complaint I get from my customers, like, just can't find a deal. Like, what's the biggest struggle on the streets right now as far as being an active investor?
I mean, I would definitely say it's finding deals for sure. So we started also incorporating not too long ago PPL, so paper leads. And one of the biggest things that I was seeing with those is that we're getting a lot of and when I say retail leads, it was houses already listed on the market. A ton of people submitting their info. And it's like, well, what are we supposed to do with these? But it's interesting because I've followed up with a couple of them like months and months later. And the offer that I had given them like 3 or 4 months ago, they've almost come to that price on their listing. But had they taken my offer, they would have made more money because they didn't have to pay an agent. But now they're at that same price, but now they have to pay realtors commission. So yeah, they're just
Wow.
hard-headed.
So, I mean, look, it's number one thing I hear from people is it's just hard to make money right now. How are you adapting? I mean, obviously, if you were doing this in 21, 22, or not 22, 19, 20, 21, it was great. I mean, you just kind of like printing money is like, oh my gosh, they just give this stuff away for free. They did actually. But like, how are you adapting your business strategies and your kind of, I'd say, 3 and 5 year goals now that the cheese has moved?
Yeah, no, for sure. So one of the things that one of my business partners and I, Deanna, so we have a couple friends that do new builds. So we're trying to venture out into areas that, so we haven't done new builds before, but we see that a lot of our friends are having success doing new builds in like Granbury, a couple other areas. So basically, I'm connecting with other investors that are successful right now, even though, maybe some investors are struggling a little bit, and seeing how maybe we can replicate that and kind of partner with them. So fix and flips, it's been a headache for us just because we've gone over budget on several projects. Again, they're taking a little bit longer to list or to sell rather. But some of my friends are selling some of their properties a little quicker because they're doing brand new. And also the price point is a lot lower too. So how I mentioned earlier, we're focusing on 300,000 and below. I have friends that are selling new builds at like 230 and below.
How?
They have awesome builders. And also they're doing smaller homes, so about 1,200 square feet, 3-bed, 2-bath, no garages. And also in areas that have some sort of attraction to bring people there. So,
Okay.
Dude,
Granbury,
this is
for
just like the
example.
KB home thing that started popping up in 05 and 06 in Pleasant Grove. Like these boxes that have like a driveway and no garage.
Right.
And I mean, but people are so starved to live in a neighborhood, not an apartment, that they're taking them.
But the thing is, though, like, what are these lots going for? Like,
The lots are really cheap, like under 25K.
okay,
Yeah.
I hear cheap and I hear 25K, and I'm like, again, all I can go back to is
Back when we bought them for $3,000.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's relative,
no,
exactly.
no.
Because we're also looking in Fort Worth, and you see lots for like 60, 80K. It's like,
But the thing is, though, back in a year or two ago, you know, was it Fair Park lots were going for $500, and even then was too expensive.
That was longer than a year or two ago.
I know. I'm trying to not date us. You know,
I
it's
thought
like,
you said she
you could
wouldn't
see
date
that a
you.
little bit
This
with
is
the
true.
hair, Ryan. But
damn, it's the
My
second
bad.
time today talking about being old. At least it's not fat. Fat and old is worse than just being fat or old. One of the two. No, but like back in the day, like you could literally buy Fair Park lots for $500, but it was too expensive because of the liability. Because of all the homeless, they get hurt and then they sue you. And nowadays, it's like, man, if we would just bought all of them, you know, and then 10 years later, whatever it is, years later, you can make a killing.
So have you read that book, Who Moved My Cheese?
actually, I did when I was in high school. I was in a program called the Academy of Finance. So they
Yeah.
made us read Rich Dad Poor Dad, Who Moved My Cheese. And of course, they forced us to read it. So we didn't necessarily pay attention to it at the time. Because otherwise, I would have started real estate when I was like 19.
What's the book?
But I didn't.
Who moved
Who
my
Moved My Cheese? So
Yeah.
in the '08 Homevestors Convention, they had the author come in, and they were like, "You guys need to read this because like your cheese has moved. It's out the building. It's been shredded. Like you need to figure this out." But it's a great book for anyone out there struggling with adapting to a new market dynamic.
Okay.
The whole thing is like if there's a mouse in a
I'm gonna
maze.
go look it up right now.
You're looking for your cheese?
No, because I'll forget about it if I don't do it.
The whole thing is if there's a maze and the mouse gets used to where their cheese is, they just keep going to the same spot. When the cheese is moved, a lot of times they'll just keep going back to the same spot, and they don't get to eat.
This
so
guy?
The whole, yeah.
Yeah.
So the whole point is now, like what she's talking about, she's looking at new builds. She's changed her price band that she wants to buy in, right? Like she's adapting because the cheese has moved.
Got it.
Cheese.
Have you read Richest Man in Babylon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because I have like 5 copies in there. So if any of your guests that are listening, if you want a copy, just ask me afterwards. I'll give you one.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. Yeah, and I think another thing too, so, you know, again, looking at areas that we haven't looked at before, so new builds, like I mentioned, but also too, trying to see if we can add other streams of income. So for example, I have been doing fix and flip for a little bit. I was actually mentoring some students for a while, and I was like, man, Maria, you have like a digital product ready. Why don't you put a little bit more time into that? So actually, I'm trying to see if maybe I could, you know, add that, you know, as well, and get, you know, some income coming in from that. And what else are we looking at? We actually, right before we came here, I have an investor friend of mine that's looking to sell his supply company in Dallas. He's been in the business for 20, 30 years. He's ready to kind of step out. So we're trying to see if we could potentially buy
Supply
other
what?
businesses. So it's kind of like a Lowe's or Home Depot. They,
Okay.
whatever you would find in there, you'd basically get from his company. So he mostly works with property management companies that service like bigger apartment complexes and whatnot.
Get him to finance it.
And we've been talking to him about that. Yeah.
That's the game.
Yeah.
So before we get into that, like
sorry.
you open up the door of it's hard to make money in real estate right now.
Yeah.
Is that because, and it's hard to find deals right now. Is that because of the rates and therefore people are not necessarily moving because they've got their lower rates, they're keeping in the house, so it's harder to get them out? Like, let's explore that a little bit.
I'll go first because I think it's just a reality we all have to accept. Volume is down. Like mortgage applications are at an all-time low. This year, there'll be less than 4 million sales nationwide. It's just there's not a lot of real estate being transacted. You're really only in the distressed environment. I mean, unless someone has to sell. Look, I've got a vacant house that I'm no longer even allowed to rent, but it has a 3.25% mortgage. It only cost me $1,800 a month, and I've only got 10 years left to pay on it. It's hard to let the thing go. You got $400,000 or $500,000 worth of equity in it, but it's hard to let it go. So you've got the rate lock phenomenon. All these people that 80% of America has a rate less than 4%. You've got high rates now. So that last guest said, if you sell a $300,000 house right now, even if you get $200,000 and put $200,000 down on a $300,000 house, your payment doubles. Like it's insane. So there's just not a lot of activity, and it's a business that relies on activity. I mean, you've got to have buyers and sellers transacting.
Yeah. No, I agree. Because actually, that house in Kaufman, so we had another couple taking a look at it. They owned a mobile home in Kaufman, too, on an acre and a quarter, and they wanted to move. They wanted to downsize. But the thing is, they're reconsidering potentially buying. The guy really wants to make his wife happy, and she fell in love with this house. But they're like, Maria, if we try and sell, our place right now, we're probably not going to get as much as we want. 'Cause, I mean, you guys have a really nice house, and it's not, selling as quickly as you guys wanted. But also, too, if we sell this place, our payment is going to go up astronomically than what we're paying for currently. So they want the house, but they're kind of in this, do we really need it right now? So
well, and we are in a sticky economy. I mean, this economy, it looks good on paper, but when you look at credit card debt as high as it is, auto delinquencies as high as they are, the new jobless numbers are going up, and even the revisions are going up. I think there's a lot of
I'm watching
pain.
the news, and everybody says the economy's great, better than it's been in years. It's the best economy we've had in 20 years. What are you talking about? That's sarcasm?
I mean, look, I'm making a bunch of money, but I mean,
That's one way to look at it.
I know for a fact that apartments are starting to give away 3 months free rent in Dallas. Oh, wow. I got an email from the dealership. I bought a Ram Limited 3/4 ton 4x4, like the
Welcome to the Auto Podcast.
It has everything, and I bought it in December of 21, and the market was so choked. It was like $105,000. I call the guys, like, I saw it on the website. He goes, yeah, it's still on the train. You can give me a $5,000 credit card deposit right now, or I'm calling the next guy back. And I did it, and then I went inside the dinner and told my wife. But that same dealership, I got an email from them this week. Top dollar for your trade, 0% financing, no payments till November. Like, that is the sign. The auto section of the Dallas Morning News, it's a newspaper. A lot of you don't know what that is.
I was going to say, what's a newspaper?
Yeah, it gets delivered to my house still. I'm old. There was a time during COVID, after the last election,
Inside joke.
that the auto section went away because the dealers were making so much money and they had no inventory. They're just like, yeah, we don't need that.
Right.
Well, that thing is back.
Wow.
And it's all the rebates and all the special financing.
I need to talk to your guy because my auto guy tried to give me negative equity on my thing.
Call Chris Zink, baby.
Maybe.
He's the guy.
Maybe.
Anyway, so I think that the economy is hurting. Mm-hmm. People can't afford higher payments for housing.
Right.
Rents have skyrocketed, and we're just going to be in a holding pattern. So strategies have to adjust. You have to go for affordable housing. You have to increase your skill at buying lower. And you have to, I always say this, you probably heard me, there's 3 levers in this business, right? In house buying. What you pay for the house, what you spend getting it fixed, and what you can sell or rent it for. Well, the market really controls number 1 and number 3. You're in charge of that middle one, right? You can develop a skill, you can do some of your own work, right? You can really change what you spend on the house, or you can pay for better advertising or different advertising and lower your cost of the acquisition, but you're still going to have ancillary costs like texting and cold calling, and those things cost money. So I think we're just in a period of adjustment where you have to get better on your skills on the first 2 and frankly on the third. Marketing, packaging, being creative, it all becomes important.
Yeah, but I'm going to push back a little bit on that.
Please.
Because I was
Eggshell.
a little too intimate on that one. I was a little too intimate on the please. I was like, a please. I mean, we're not on deployment. Simmer down. I lost what I was going to say. No, but I'm going to push back in the sense that if there's no deal, there's no deal. Mm-hmm. Like, because you can increase. I'm a fan of increasing your skills. Like, I'm going back to SMU this fall for it to pursue my MBA from them. So
Executive MBA.
Executive MBA. Sorry. Trust me, when you see the price difference. Let me go that rabbit hole real quick. I had no idea. I was just like, yeah, of course, I'm older, so I'm going to pursue the executive MBA. And then I'm meeting all these other MBA people the difference between like a professional MBA and executive MBA is $30,000. And I'm like, the fuck? Like, excuse my language, but it's like 30,000 to 30,000. Anyway, I'm a fan of pursuing and educating yourself and getting better and developing skills. But if there's no deals, there's no deals.
Well, you have to do less with more. I mean, more with less.
Yeah, you have to capitalize on every little thing. So actually, it was funny. The most recent deal that I got was a wholesale that I did in Irving. This is probably actually my biggest wholesale that I've ever done. So this one family was wanting to rent out one of the houses that I had in Hearst. And usually we ask people like, hey, why are you looking to move? All those questions. So they told us, well, we're looking to move because we have to sell our house in Irving. And I was like, do tell. So
Have to.
Yeah,
Ding, ding, ding.
Exactly. So I like hounded these people. So it's interesting because it's a couple, so husband, wife, kid, and they have their in-laws moving in also. So the in-laws are the ones that own the house. And so this house in Irving was like falling apart. The roof horrible, foundation horrible, and actually the city was going to condemn it to be torn down because I guess when they built the house and they set up the foundation, they didn't use any rebar. So all the houses on the street, the foundation is so messed up.
Twin Falls?
I forget where.
Sorry.
Yeah, no.
Personal experience
Oh, okay.
in Irving.
Yeah, no, and so so I just kept kind of bothering them, hounding them. So I was like, hey, so yeah, I'll rent out the house to you. So by the way, what's going on with the Irving property? And I just built that relationship, and the guy just wanted to sell this thing, and I got it for basically lot value because they had the home paid off. So I had a friend of mine that buys a ton in Irving, sold
Nick.
it to him, and yeah, exactly, yeah.
Nick owns Irving.
Well, what's funny is I literally was about to say bring him up specifically because he just bought that commercial building for like $1 million under market, just because he developed that relationship and he spent time developing a relationship with the seller, and the seller's like, yeah, I'll sell to you, even though the guy had like $1 million more in offerings from other people, but he liked him.
Yeah, no,
Nick's
exactly.
a likable guy.
How much did you make on that?
Like 50.
Yes. I love money. It's just, I love money. Like, I mean, it's this business.
It's such a rare thing for anyone to like money.
No, I don't like it.
Oh,
He loves it.
I love it. Here's why. The skill of rapport and relationship, the going a couple levels deep of the motivation, of the need, like creates opportunity for you as an entrepreneur. And I just love that. I love it.
So on that specifically, because I would say I'm really good at the rapport. I would say I'm really good at developing relationships. But where I currently lack skills in is give me your credit card or asking for the deal, asking for the sale. So for that deal specifically, when did you realize like, oh, I've got this rapport, I've got this, let's give me a deal out of this?
Yeah. So it was interesting because I was talking to the couple first that wanted to rent out the house, right? The second that they mentioned Irving and that they needed to sell and that the house was in bad shape, I just put in my mind, like, I'm getting this house. So I made it work, and everything kind of worked out for them to move into the house that I have in Hearst, even though they had 3 pets, and usually that's not my thing, but because I wanted to build rapport.
50K goes a long way on make-readies.
Oh, man. But also one of the things, too, so I'll be honest, the particular house that I was looking at in Irving, this place was, like, terrible. Like, I'd walk into that house and I'd have to like hold my breath. I'm sure you guys have experienced that.
Well, that's why I always say, not to interrupt, but like, that's why I typically don't do real estate now, is because I can't stand cat piss. I can't stand hoarder houses.
Oh, really?
And I know that's the smell of money, but it's just like, I can't.
Yeah, that's how bad this house was. And so it kind of freaked me out a little bit, I'll be honest. So one of the requirements that I gave the family for moving in is that they needed to have a bi-weekly cleaning company come, like cleaning done at their house. So actually that is part of their lease. I have a company that goes and cleans their house every 2 weeks.
The lease says you are nasty.
I was just afraid that if that's
nasty or nasty.
Yeah, because it's like typically that's what my property managers do. They go to the applicants' homes and see how they're currently living, because how they're currently living is how they're gonna treat your place. So I saw that and I was like, oh man, if that's what you guys.
I've never heard that before. That's brilliant.
So
actually.
I have a
Props
company
to
that
you.
comes and clean, and also it was a brand new. We remodeled that house, so there's no way I wanted them to trash it. So so I get pictures of the cleanings and stuff like that. So I get to see the condition and.
And if you don't want to do the cleaning, what a lot of people do, I know that.
Deposit.
No, they do the monthly filter service. It's like, oh, well, part of our service, since you have so many pets, is we're going to change the air filters once a month. Because then your guy or gal or person gets to go in and make sure the place isn't getting trapped.
And actually we do that quarterly now. So we go and replace filters,
to.
but also inspect the property. Because after you've experienced someone tearing up your house and you having to invest 10, 15, 20K to get it rent ready again, you will take whatever measures to make sure that never happens.
It's insane that 10, 15, 20 for a make ready, when 10, 15, 20 used to be a full rehab. You know?
Well, it's not anymore. I mean, well, no, and that's actually a great point, because I think Section 8 gets a bad rap in the info circle, if you will.
Just the
But
zeitgeist.
all tenants will not take care of your home. And it is incumbent upon either the owner operator, or if they have a management company, their contract with that management company, that they have routine inspections. Little things like a water leak underneath the sink is no big deal until it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And the 4-letter word that starts with an M, like that stuff, like once it starts, like you can't get rid of it. I mean,
I was like,
Where was your mind going, Ryan?
I was trying to search. I was like, mom, mother,
Whoa,
for it, and I was like, I don't understand where he's going. Then I was like, oh, okay.
mold.
No, I get it now. It took a second.
Just don't say it in relationship to my properties. They never have mold. They have mildew.
Well, first of all, none of us are mold experts, so how do we know what it is? I don't have a certification on mold.
So your
it's
rental
just this
portfolio, rent's going up, rent's staying flat. How's that feeling these days?
So they're staying pretty flat right now. So I have so just under 20 doors between Michigan, Ohio, and Texas, and I have 2 vacancies, I think, in Ohio, but hopefully we'll get some people in there pretty quickly.
What part of
usually come
Ohio?
around Cleveland for the most part. Yeah.
I like Columbus better.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I haven't been out there. Actually, I used to live in Cleveland. When I first came to the States from the Dominican Republic, I lived in Cleveland.
Oh, really?
It's crazy that all this time later I'm investing there, but
Have you ever is it all virtual, or do you go up there much?
So it's interesting. I bought my first rental out there. I had never seen it, and a year and change after I bought it, that's when I flew out there to.
So because they have the OREA, they have a massive like
It's in Cincinnati.
Oh, Cincinnati.
what's that?
That's in Cincinnati.
But I'm talking about Ohio. Though.
Oh yeah.
They have like a massive annual conference where it's like if you want to talk about like the old days of like pitching from stage,
Vina hadn't changed.
that's who I'm bringing up. Yeah, she walks around with no shoes on, owns the place, but because like she used to do these conferences, I think she still does at the Great Wolf Lodge. Have you been to one of those? But it's like it literally is like going back in time to where the old days of real estate, where it's pitching from stage, where the people that she brings in to pitch from stage, like they get lessons from their staff of you need to pitch more. And it's like, I thought I was here to teach. Like, no, you're here to sell. And no offense, I don't know. Well, I don't have a relationship with them. I don't care. So anyway, but if I don't know, it might be good networking to go to.
So the rent's flat in Ohio and Texas, or?
Yeah. So I mean, I haven't really. So I increased them, I think, a little bit last year, but this year I think I'm gonna kind of keep them where they're at, because everything's, I don't know, it's so crazy. Kind of earlier how you were talking about people not really being able to afford, these higher prices and stuff like that. How I knew that there were changes kind of happening, and this is kind of dumb, but one of the other things that I do is that I rent out my pool, right? Through Swimply and like through other groups and stuff like that. 2 years ago, I was able to rent out my pool, and during the summer, I made a little over $10,000.
From the pool?
Yeah, just from renting out my pool. So that kind of told me, okay, people have a lot of, like discretionary income or disposable. There you go, disposable income. That's what I was looking for, because I was like, man, I had people paying $500 to rent out my pool for the day. This year, though, I've had minimal, like very minimal reservations. People aren't doing that as much as they were a couple years ago, but
I wonder if that's against the HOA's rules.
They don't say nothing. I know the people in the HOA.
Well, I think it's more of a reflection that people don't have the disposable income anymore. Though.
Yeah. So I thought that was nuts. But 2 years ago, I made a little over like 11,000. Last year, I think it was like 6,000. This year, it's only been like 3,000.
They pay $500.
So usually I rent out the pool for the whole day, like 12 to 10, and people rent it for birthday parties.
Like, do they pee in the pool? They pee in the backyard?
I mean,
you gotta let them in
you
the
name
house?
it, they probably do that. But
As long
in
as
the
it's
pool,
not
I
shit, who
shock
cares?
it. Yes, exactly. You just shock it. Chlorine, shock it.
You know,
Everyone
there is
will be
a log, you just
blonde.
get the little-
Everyone
you get
will
the
be
little-
blonde when they're done swimming. There's no doubt. It's just,
I didn't know that was a thing though.
Yeah. There's an app, just like you could rent out, your house through,
Airbnb
and whatnot. You can rent out your pool.
so if you had to get the crystal ball out, like,
Yeah.
what's your business look like in a year? Is it mainly wholesale? Are you still flipping? Are you going to focus on rentals?
So I'd love to focus more on new builds. Like, I just think it's like there's gonna be headaches in everything that you
There's
do.
a trend there.
yeah.
Yeah, with
Because sorry to interrupt, but
No,
it's
you're
just like a lot. Like I would say, so many people that we've talked to on this little project here, this podcast, is new build.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because they can't find deals.
Yeah, and also too, sometimes you just get tired of doing these old ass fix and flips. To be honest with you, it's like you open up a wall, you open up this, like the latest remodel that we were working on. We had to do foundation work. The foundation work that we did was so bad that it started knocking the bricks off the house. So we had to then do siding. And because water was accumulating under the house, we then had to put in French drain. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like all these unknowns and different things. With new builds, I'm sure there's definitely a bunch of headaches associated with it, but I'd rather deal with new stuff than, having
To that point, it's like, when it's been a while. I'll just preface: it's been a while since I've been on a buy call. It's been a while since I've taken any of those calls or been on those properties. But it's like, yeah, we've got minor foundation problems. We've got, I've got like a thing missing, and then you get there and the whole wall's knocked down because the foundation, and you're just like, minor foundation. This is a teardown, bro.
The bricks in the driveway from the garage.
Yeah, it's like the people's sense of reality when it comes to their own home, and it's just like, yeah, you should take care of your house, but minor foundation versus, hey, this is probably needs to be torn down. Like the disconnect there is crazy sometimes.
So pet peeve of mine, you said doors earlier. I hate door counts because, I got patio doors, cabinet doors, sliding glass doors, double doors, French doors. How many properties is that 40 doors?
So it's under 20. So I have duplex in Michigan, 2 duplexes in Ohio, 3 single family, and then 10 single families down here. So total, it's only like 14 or 15 or something like that actual
Properties.
Houses. Yes, exactly.
But you mentioned a property manager. Do you use property management in all those locations?
For Ohio and Michigan, yeah. The ones down here I manage on my own, and my virtual assistant helps me.
Perfect.
So I'm glad you brought that up because that's a pet peeve of mine. It's not necessarily a pet peeve, but it is funny to me because, like, in this business of people that are completely 100%, 1,000% legit, and you should never question them because they got red bottom shoes. Like, but they walk around, I've got 1,000 doors, 1,500 doors. It's like, bro, you've got 0.01% of that.
Yeah.
It's like, shut the hell up.
Yeah.
Like, and again, owning anything is better than not owning anything because I don't want to, like, shit on somebody's, like, growth or their game or whatever. But stop throwing around because everybody knows what you're doing. You're trying to insinuate you've got bigger britches than you do.
Yeah.
But, like, when you've got 0.01% share of a giant portfolio, to me, it's just silly. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, and that's something that some of my friends and I talk about sometimes because it's like people like to say, oh, yeah, we're buying 1,200 doors. Okay, so what percentage of that do you own again?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now, again, if it's like some of the most successful people I know own, shares in multiple different properties, whatever. I get it. It's a part of the game. But they're also not the ones flout. Oh, I've got 1,200 doors, 1,500 doors, 10,000 doors. Like, to me, that's just a vanity metric to try to sell education, which most of the people that sell education are making money from education, not necessarily from the deals themselves.
Yeah, that's true.
And you said you were going to start selling education.
Oh, yeah.
I know, right?
We'll just go ahead and lean into that. We just, I kind of came at you about the doors. He just came at you about the education. So
Yeah, but at least she has 20 doors. At least she has 14 doors or
40
houses.
doors,
20 doors,
houses.
14 houses.
It's to be exact, because I want to be precise. I have 19 doors and about 16 individual properties. So
But to me, that's at least a validation factor, because there's people on
Because that's millions of dollars worth of property.
right, but there's people on YouTube that have sold real estate courses, and they have sold all that stuff, and they talk about having, I'm on my third rental property, and again, that's great, and I'm in California, and you own millions of dollars worth of property in California, but you learn so much more when you've done 1,500 deals, when you own 16 properties. 2 deals in California, albeit impressive that they're millions of dollars. What do you, and you're 28 years old.
Figures. 8 figures.
Right. But I mean, what are you going to, I mean, you can learn a lot, but compared to the flow of deals, like, shut the hell up.
Well,
But
here's a great example. I have this one.
Talking about Graham Stephan, by the way.
I have this one.
Did you hear Sohail laughing?
Yeah. I have this one 9-figure deal I'm in.
I should probably cut that
That
out.
has
One day I'll
over,
meet him.
that has over 1,500 doors.
Wow.
That I invested $50,000 in.
So you have 1,500 doors, Tim?
On top of the 1,500 I really bought.
Yeah, but 1,500 doors.
Ron, it's 9 figures. Because it's like $150 million worth of property.
Right.
So that's 9 figures. These people, 8-figure real estate company. It's like, okay.
Right.
I mean,
My
did you
favorite
invest
was
in because literally for $50K,
Yeah.
I could claim 1,500 doors in a 9-figure real estate investing business.
Yep. True.
well, my favorite is like when realtors go out like, I've done $10 billion worth of real estate this year. It's like, what?
Multi-million-dollar producer.
What?
So you sold 6 houses?
Yeah. But I mean, but that's my point. Is like, but I'm bringing this up A, for fun, but B, is like, but that's the reality of this business. Is there's so many people that will just do this nonstop, and you're just like, show me your HUD. Who's your Home Depot rep? You know, like, how do we get real validation here? How do we validate everything that you're saying is true?
Yeah. And
know?
actually, so you bring up a good point, because I have private lenders, right, that invest in my fix and flip deals and everything like that. And I have people that have invested in my deals, Ryan, that I have never met, have only seen me through social media. And every single time I talk to them, I let them know, like, I would tell you to do this no matter whether you're talking to me or someone else, but ask people to, like you said, show their HUDs. So one of the things that I put together is that I have a PowerPoint presentation, kind of with every sheet has one deal, every single deal that I've done, all the numbers and everything, and then I send them HUDs. Because you're right, people can claim all they want with social media nowadays. Like, you don't know what's real sometimes and what's not. So
just to piggyback on that just a little bit more, I have a friend of mine who's in the process, or who wants to start a high level real estate investor mastermind. And one of the things is you need to have at least $2 million in revenue every year. And on that, they're going to hire a third party authenticator, like a CPA, to come in to review your books. That way it's just for them, just to say, yes, you have $2 million of revenue. And what he was telling me was the amount of people that were excited to join this mastermind, because it was going to be one of those elite level masterminds. But the minute they heard that there was going to be third party authentication, immediately were like, no. And it's like, what's going on? Do these people who are on the internet saying that they do this and that and the other, just because now that there's a third party authentication? And it's not like, and he was saying, like, I don't see those books. Like, I don't, all I get to hear is yes or no. And the amount of people that were like excited and then immediately ghosted.
Well, I can't tell
scary.
you. Like, and by the way, I'm in no way throwing shade that you're going to launch a course. But like,
it's already
I
out
wasn't
there.
either. I
It's
wasn't
already
trying
out
to
there.
either.
I've already sold some.
oh, really?
Yeah. Good for you.
We're going to promote that in a minute.
Can I join it? What's the promo code?
I meet these people that have real estate investing communities, like, of hundreds and hundreds of people. And one gentleman, I will not name him, we were talking about a deal, and I go, yeah, if you're accredited, I can get you in with me. He's like, oh, I'm not accredited. And I'm just like,
Don't you lead your thing?
again, I'm not trying to be
Right.
dismissive. There was a time that I was not accredited. I don't come from money. I
Right.
had to work my way where I am. But like, to be accredited, you just need $1 million net worth, and like to make or to make like $200,000 a year for like 3 or 4 years or something like that.
Right.
And there's just a lot of misconception. But I do want to turn this on its head. you obviously are being very open and honest, which I appreciate. Authenticity is rare, as we just got through beating the drum.
Yeah, I'm going to interrupt for 2 seconds because
Please.
I don't want to be the guy that's an asshole that's shitting on people. That's not my intent. But like I am a big fan of authenticity. Like when I'm broke, I like to say I'm broke. When I'm doing all right, I probably won't share that much because I'm also believe in being humble. But like I'm just not a fan of like saying you're all this when you're not. Like the whole fake it till you make it, I get it, but like at least be honest about it. You know, like if you know what you're talking about, great. Say what you know what you're talking about, but also say, by the way, I like I've relentlessly said I don't do real estate on this podcast. But at the same time, I also hint that sometimes I know what the hell I'm talking about. But I always follow that up with I haven't done this in a minute. So
Well, the compliment,
I'll let you get back
the
in there, but I'm
compliment
just
I
talking
want to
about
give
being
you is
authenticity.
you straight up said you were going to do it for an alternative stream of income. And a lot of people say, oh, I just like to help people obtain the level of financial net worth that I've...
bullshit.
Right? Like, so, like, that's where I
Should be
was
an ongoing
complimenting...
theme. Bullshit on shit.
Yeah, that was good.
Bullshit.
That's where my compliment about the authenticity was coming from, that you were just real on a recorded podcast about your motivation. You don't act like you're perfect. You're like, look, I've had some struggles. I mean, there's some things that have gone wrong. And I believe the greatest teacher in life is struggle, not success. When I used to have these Homevestors franchises nationwide that reported through us, I used to hate it when they had success out the gate.
Yeah.
Because it becomes the expectation. Oh, I'm gonna make $100,000 a deal. Like if they hitch their wagon to you based off that $50K assignment, like that's probably not going to work, right?
Yeah, no.
Like they need to learn from you how you got creative to get out of a bad flip. They need to learn from you how you shifted and pivoted strategies. They need to learn from you how you manage remote assets in other states by leveraging property management, but then you don't mind doing it here local where you feel like you can do it right. Like I think there's value in that. I feel like it's very authentic, and I really hope it's successful.
Yeah. Yeah, no, thank you. And actually, to be honest with you, the only reason I ever even thought about doing it was because people started asking me for it. Otherwise, I didn't feel, to be honest with you, I didn't feel like I had done enough to be worthy of teaching other people. Because I think we compare ourselves to some of these gurus that supposedly have done hundreds and hundreds of deals. And I haven't done hundreds and hundreds of deals. I've only flipped like 40 or 50 houses. So I felt like I wasn't as experienced to be teaching people. But when you have all these people reaching out, I tried to listen because friends were pointing it out to me. They're like, Maria, they're coming to you and they're asking you for a reason, because I was actually promoting some of my other friends like, hey, go and check out Chris Jefferson, or hey, go and check out Max Maxwell. Like that's what I was doing because, I didn't think that I was supposed to be teaching anyone, but my friends kind of pointed that out to me like, Maria, they can resonate with you. And so that's why they're coming to you.
Yeah.
So I'm all about helping people. I really am. But at the end of the day is every time you help somebody, there is a cost to be paid. And that cost is time. And time and mental and energy and all that. Now, whether they're paying it or you're paying it, somebody's paying that cost. And the trap that I've over and over and over fall into myself is like I give away too much. Like if I'm on a discovery call about media and I'm trying to earn business, I find myself giving away thousands of dollars worth of free consulting to try to earn like a $5,000 gig or something. And I've had my coaches of mine say, stop that, because like you're giving away the farm, because if you give them that information, they can do it on themselves. And I'm like, and what I've had to try to do is replace the dopamine hit of helping with, hey, do you want a dopamine hit or do you want to feed yourself? Like, which one do you want?
Well, time sucks and energy vampires are a real thing.
It's extremely real.
Especially the more you're out there on social, right? Like the more, hey, can I buy you lunch? Hey, can I pick your brain? Hey.
Oh, yeah.
And actually, I was on the Bigger Pockets Rookie podcast after
With
my
Ashley and
podcast
them?
came out. Yeah. Like people just start reaching out to you. And it's like you want to help people, but one of the things that I noticed is that I would answer one question and then they would send me like 2 or 3 more questions. And it's like it doesn't stop. I've actually had friends that have been reaching out to me for years, asking me questions, and they still haven't even gotten started in real estate. So I was like,
well, another thing that I have to work on is that dopamine hit thing, because like it takes years and years and years to establish your own credibility, but also develop your own network. And like I'll give that network away for free without ever getting anything back. And then I've had a friend tell me recently, it's like, when you do that, you're cheapening yourself and you're cheapening your network. Because like I've hooked up people with lunches with senators, you know, and it's just like, I got nothing out of that.
Brian, you want to hook me up with the lunch?
What do you want? Let's go. Is this a lunch? Or is this a lunch?
So I have a website. It's called IHaveLunchMoney.com.
Okay.
Because that's what I started telling people. I'll take you. I want to take you to lunch and I'll pick your brain. Like, no, I have lunch money. Like, unless you're taking me like to Nick and Sam's and I'm gonna get the $1,800 steak. Like, I have lunch money. I don't need you to take me to lunch.
Yeah.
Most days I'm gonna sit there in my shorts and flip flops and make $1 million a year. I don't need to get dressed to drive to Dallas for lunch. So wait, hang on. So if you're listening and you want to ask me a question, go to IHaveLunchMoney.com, submit your question. We'll try to answer it on a podcast, but I ain't calling you.
So I will push back on that a little bit because my thinking on that has changed a bit. I think at a certain level, 100% I agree with you. But at the same time, shoot your damn shot. I'm having lunch Friday with the former CEO of 7-Eleven.
Oh, wow.
Only because I reached out. And it's because no one else has ever probably reaches out like I did. Because I literally on my LinkedIn, I sent him an email or a LinkedIn saying, hey, I see that you're speaking at a SMU lecture in October. I'm a new MBA candidate. By the way, I don't speak corporate. I would love to take you to lunch just to learn how to speak to C-level guys like yourself. And then I listened to his audiobook. This is a huge dude, like huge. So shoot your shot. But to Tim, shoot it at that website. But my point being is, like, at a certain level, yeah, you can afford lunch. But if you can have access to the big guys, like a senator guy I know, like no one ever just asks him out and hang out. They all want something. I was like, hey, I'd like to take a coffee just because I know nobody ever just hangs with you. He's like, sure.
But you know it's different. Like, you approach that of showing interest in the person. You approach that not of what you can gain.
Yes.
You approach that as
relationship,
engaging with. I'm not talking about the senator. I'm talking about the CEO of 7-Eleven.
Oh yeah.
Engaging with their content. A young man named Dylan, who I've had multiple phone calls with, heard me speak somewhere and sent me a Nolan Ryan autographed baseball card.
Yeah.
I was floored. I mean, it meant something. The kid listened to me and wrote me a nice handwritten note. He's got my cell phone number.
So he
doesn't have the website.
So what's funny about that is, so this guy that I'm having lunch with on Friday, in his book, he talked about when he was a kid, one of his favorite quotes was from a Calvin Coolidge quote. I bought him a first edition autobiography of Calvin Coolidge, and it's sitting in my room in my office, because I'll be able to give him a first edition, 100-year-old fucking book, excuse my language. It's a first edition 1925, 29 book that it cost me $100 on eBay. Like, so even if he's never going to read it, he's going to be like, I'm going to be remembered more than just a lunch.
Ryan, I would say you put the work in to be deserving of that lunch.
Right.
Versus literally when someone asks to pick your brain,
can I pick your brain to them?
They're basically undercutting your hourly consulting rate.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's the whole point. The I have lunch money comes from that. I can't tell you. It's been well over 1,000 times that I've gotten a DM, an email, a text, or a call. I would like to take you to lunch and pick your brain.
I've gone to lunch plenty with you.
But you've never sent me that email or text. It cheapens me. It cheapens my time.
Yeah.
It literally says, I will buy you a meal to take advantage of your time.
This is true.
And that's my whole message. I mean, if you're going to add value to someone, you're going to make an offer, you're going to...
I will say on that, it was funny because we used to work at Scott Horn's old current office or whatever, and right next door was a Chili's. So when people said, can I buy you lunch? What they really meant was, can I buy you Chili's?
Yeah. Never failed.
It wasn't Nick and Sam's, but yeah. Anyway. I think we're wrapping up.
I don't even know what we're talking about.
I don't either. We just got on this shitting on people.
So you're all over social. You're flipping. You're wholesaling. You're teaching. You're landlording. Before we go, how can people connect with you, do business with you, etc.?
So I mean, a lot of people reach out to me through Instagram. So I'm at lady_hustle23, or Facebook Maria Acosta.
Oh,
Maria Acosta.
I do have one final question.
Mm-hmm.
What is the next 2 to 3 years strategy look like for you?
So I would love, like we talked about, to start doing some new development. And then also too, one of my friends and I are definitely trying to look into RV parks and mobile home parks. So like we talked about before, affordable housing. She and her business partners bought like a 60 pad RV park in Alba, Texas. And they're definitely bringing in some good cash flow. So I want to have different streams of income like that, where if I want to fix and flip a house, I can, but I don't have to. So I definitely want to add more of those, and maybe, see if I could connect with some of my friends that are looking to sell some of their businesses. Because I have friends that I've made that are a little older. I've been running businesses for a little bit, and some of them I think are maybe wanting to cash out here pretty soon. So maybe we can do something with that.
Final thoughts before we go? Any last thing that you want to throw out there?
So we've been talking about real estate, like just get started. So initially how I got started and how we talked about how I have a course, I actually paid $40,000 when I got into real estate initially. I'm not saying that anyone needs to do that, but if you have someone that
hers is only 35.
But if you want to, the wiring number is...
No, right? Yeah.
But yeah, no, don't be afraid. Kind of like how Ryan shot his shot, with the 7-Eleven guide. Like, reach out to someone that that's maybe doing real estate and add value to them. Like, hey, actually, I saw, this house that's on my block that looks like no one lives there. Can you help me see if we can get...
That's how you get lunch. Bring a deal.
Because we discussed this. I love money.
Right.
Yeah.
And I will say on the course thing, I'm a fan of education. I'm a fan of mentors. I'm a fan of that. But until you know how to speak the language, save your money. Watch the YouTube videos, watch podcasts, follow people on social. But until you understand the language, because you're not going to know what, because maybe the mastermind, maybe the education is worth $50,000. Maybe it's $100,000. I'm not against paying that. What I'm against is being ignorant of what you're paying for. That's all. That's what I would say. Tim, final thoughts?
This show is sponsored by Ternus Lending. Next time you do a flip, call me. 100%.
Do I get your cell phone, or do I have to go to?
You get my
the
cell
website.
phone. You get my
Okay.
cell phone.
We started on money. You get a cell phone.
100% financing. Texas, Ohio, Oklahoma, Missouri, Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina, growing rapidly.
Yeah.
And we're direct lender. Like, we don't do credit. We don't do appraisals. I just look at comps and
Do you guys do mobile homes?
Yeah.
Okay.
I will.
There's a little.
Well, then you're looking. Well, here's the deal. You're looking at the credit committee. So as long as it'll pass an FHA.
Is it 16 doors or 20 doors? What do you got?
Is the trailer still attached? As long as it's on an FHA foundation, I'll do it.
Okay.
I'm the credit committee and the underwriter. We underwrite the way you buy. Like, we just look at it. If the deal makes sense, we fund it.
Yeah.
So what did we learn today? Maria Acosta has a course. Tim likes money.
Loves.
Loves money.
Loves.
Well, thanks everybody for being here. We'll see you next time.